Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Wa kal Elohim la Eloheinu wa Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Rakakodash. All praises to our power Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Rakakodash. And of course, double honors to the elders and apostles, that great millstone who well. Shin Kabad la Shalayach Yom Nawa was a Quanium Nawa Shal Yashala. Shanya meaning double, Kabad is honor. Lies 2. Shalayach Yom Nawa is our apostles, was, and Zaquanium Nawa is our elders. Shalayashalas of Israel, which Israel consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the Hebrew Israelites, and those whom have been scattered across the four winds due to the curses which have befell us, being in all nations, and due to being amongst all the nations, our seed is mingled and mixed amongst them. So of course this is a thing determined by the spirit, but of course it's a bloodline which goes through the flesh. So you gotta say Shalom. Shem Yah Mappa. My name is Amappa from the Great Millstone Plain Tables Camp located here in Great Babylon, which is America, coming again with another lesson due to Rachel Kodash. This lesson was originally done, but due to Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, Shaitan, ended up hindering it from being released due to the recording application didn't execute the task, which was to record. So I'm doing this again, which I plan to, Lord willing, make it as quick as possible. So you have here Hebrew Israelite arrested for teaching the Bible, which this occurred in London, England, the UK, across the pond. Which you have a man here. He was preaching the scriptures, and he was approached by 2 female officers about a sign, which the sign they claim will have offensive content upon it, and they of course claim that he's shouting offensive slurs or offensive things in the public, in which he explained himself. Explained, of course, that the Negro, that's in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. The sign, that 12 tribe sign, which I'm not sure if that's what they were referring to. You have, of course, one side which has the true biblical nationality of the Hebrew Israelites, and on the other side you have the bywords in which they're called by, Negro being one of them, which the Negro is the so-called Negro is the Hebrew Israelite, the tribe of Yehuda or Judah. And some people actually are offended by that term, which is the term that was placed on the Judites by, of course, Esau, Edom, the wicked themselves. And all of this truth that's coming out because, of course, us being out on the highways and hedges, which this particular man, I'm not sure if he's a part of Great Millstone or not, or if he just do his own thing and follow the same doctrine. He was arrested for doing what is righteous, which is doing the work of Yahweh Bashem Yashai, teaching the gospel, which we were told to go out on the highways and hedges and bid them to the marriage. which that's in the scriptures, which Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his true name, told his men, his disciples, his pupils to go out and do this. Let's get a precept this to prove it. This is the book of Matthew chapter 22 and 9. It says here, straight to the point, go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So we are out there on the highways and hedges, and the chief place of concourse, and the gates of the nobles, in the agora, in the marketplace, fishing for the election, which the election is the 1/3, the 144,000 men, which are prophets, and the rest of the 1/3, which are men, women, and children, which are believers of the words of the Lord, which will come through the words that the prophets speak, which the prophets speak the words of the Lord. They are, of course, the servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. The Lord made fishers of men, which were fishing with the word, and that's the bait. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 4 and 19. And I'm going to start actually at verse 18. It says, in Yahweh Shai, which it says Jesus verbatim, but the letter J didn't exist until 1634. And Yahweh Shai is a Hebrew man. He's a Hebrew Israelite of the tribe of Judah. He sprang out of the tribe of Judah. This word doesn't actually mean anything. The word Jesus, that is, okay? This is just a title, okay? Yahweh Shai is the true name. Shemamath, or true name, or Shem meaning name, true. He, of course, is the savior for the nation of Israel. His name, Yahweh Shai meaning he the deliverer, he the savior. He came to save his people. It says in Yahweh Shai, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. So you have men that actually are set up to be fishers of men, which, you know, the sea is likened onto people in the scriptures in certain places. So when we're out there on the highways and hedges, we're fishing for the elect, prophesying, speaking before, which we're not out there for any vainglory. Us Achim, our brothers that are sincere, we're out there to do exactly this task, to fish for the elect. The elect, of course, will receive the Thawah, or market exemption, have, of course, the names written of Yahweh Hashem Yashai in their forehead, which they will be exempt from the judgment which is soon to come, which the Lord is going to, or is judging this place currently, and will judge this place at a level in which hasn't been seen before. Now, he was arrested He explained this up, and you can watch the video on your own. As you can see, I have the title here. I believe the page is off of Zion Waits Mount Zion, but I have is reposted off of GMS Stop and Listen. They arrested him. Everything was, of course, caught on film. This was confusion. You have women usurping authority over men, but this is what we have to do with. And of course, he did right, of course, by agreeing with thine adversary quickly. And this is just a cost that comes with the work. So let's see. Let's see if I can get the scripture. I believe it was in. It's either, I'm not sure if it was Luke. It's either Luke 14 or Luke 6. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, let's see what we have here. It says in the scriptures about counting the costs. He was like Luke 14 or something like that. I gotta see if I can find it though. Slocky. Right, so this is Luke 14, and starting at verse 27. And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. So the Lord, which is Yahushua, he of course spoke about bearing your cross. The lot you're in, of course, you got to be able to bear the burden which you're placed to possess, which we all, of course, have a amount of hardship and trials and tribulations that we must endure. It says that he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. The Lord will give that he that overcometh will get power over the nations, roughly paraphrasing. I believe that's probably like two different precepts though, Slakia. So we have to endure unto the end. We're not saved yet, okay? We are the hopeful elect. We are prisoners of hope, doing and putting on as the elect, hoping that we are the elect. The elect being the chosen. We, of course, as men in the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we pray to be a part of that number of the 144,000 to be part of the governing body for the nation of Israel, who will rule under Yahushai and Malak Dawadah, King David, in the kingdom, judging all the 12 tribes of Israel. All the affairs that come with it. So reading on verse 28, it says, "For which of you intended to build a tower sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether ye have sufficient to finish it? Least happily, after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold him began to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish it, or finish." So you have to count the cost, which counting the cost deals with, when you go into the word for counting, you have to compute. Okay, to compute, to calculate, to count with pebbles. Or you have to consider all that is therein in this work. All of the various hardships. You have to suffer wrongfully in certain cases. You of course have to do this to prove yourself to Yahweh Shemel Shai. The Lord of course proves you to going through these various experiences. This is the book of Revelation chapter 2 and 10. It reads here, "Fear none of the things, or none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, this physical counterpart of the devil is Esau, Edom, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, which you have here for the word tribulation. So I believe that goes into having pressure being put up on you. The pressing together. Going back to the Greek,
G2347.
Thleepless, which is a pressing together, pressure, affliction, distress, and straits, which that's Tazarah. You're going to be placed in these different stresses, and you're going to be feeling as if you're being pressed together, literally, alright, and figuratively, Slagia. But you have to, of course, strive unto the truth unto death, and the Lord will give you a crown of life, alright? So, as it says here, it's going to say, it's like, I went a bit ahead of me, jumped the gun. It says, "Be thou faithful unto God, unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." And this is Yahweh Shai speaking. Okay, as it says this in the scriptures, that in much tribulation we would enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So you have to, these are some of the different various tribulations. These are the early form of it. Being arrested, being ashamed. I mean, not ashamed, but, amongst men being mocked. Because of being put in handcuffs and such. That makes you look as a criminal. In which we're criminals in the sight of this world. But in Yahweh Shai, we're free. And we are actually doing righteous acts, because we're doing this for the sake of Him. Alright, this is a proving point, okay, in which this occurring, us being arrested, is just another biblical prophecy being fulfilled. I must note, which you have in the book of Amos, it speaks of a famine of the word. But first, I'm going to bring out this scripture, which is Amos 5 and 10. It says, "They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly." So they hate, which is let me see what they got here. Shana is the Hebrew word for hate, but see what they have for Shanawa, which is hate him in Hebrew. Wa at the end as the suffix means him or his, but is him in this case. Shanawa. Alright. That rebuketh in the gate, which we're in the chief place of concourse, in the marketplace. You see it, gate or increase, or gate or entrance, or the inside the space of the gate, marketplace, public meeting place. That's the city or town. All right, which is Sha'ir. Okay, Sha'ir from this original or the root word. Okay, so they hate, of course, us that, of course, are lifting up that voice like a trumpet and showing Jacob their transgression. They, of course, hate that. People, of course, call in, give these various false reports, and an emotional temper tantrum, I must note. And in certain cases, we have to be arrested, be detained. That's more so what it be. A lot of the time we be detained. But also, of course, the elders apostles at Great Millstone, when the time of 9/11 occurred, they had to go through the trial and tribulation of being arrested and blamed for the attack of the 9/11, which they had nothing to do with, and we won't have nothing to do with any of these future attacks, in which are planned and staged by, of course, the wicked of themselves, which will use us as a scapegoat for the masses to believe, to demonize us for all that is being done by them and all that Yahweh Shem Yahshua is bringing upon the earth. Okay, which the Lord is bringing terror, death, and destruction. Let's go down. It says here, verse 15. Actually, I can just continue reading. It says, for as much, therefore, as your treading is upon the poor, and ye take from him burdens of wheat, ye have built houses of hewn stone, but ye shall not dwell in them. Ye have planted pleasant vineyards, but ye shall not drink wine of them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They that afflict the just, they take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor, and negate from their right. Poor being the nation of Israel, being especially this servant, all right, which he's doing the work of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, I believe sincerely. Take it away, Sagia. So reading on, it says, from the gate, from their right. It said, therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good, all right, which seek should be, let's see what it says here, Hebrew word. They got darash, all right, darash, which it means to resort, to seek with care, inquire. So it says seek good, right? Seek good, and not evil, that ye may live, and so Yahweh, the power of hosts, Lord of the armies, shall be with you, as ye have spoken. Hate evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate, which he was doing by reading the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord, to rebuke the Israelites, to, of course, come and serve the Lord and not these false idols. It says, it may be that the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. The remnant is, of course, dealing with that remainder, that elect chosen. All right, which this is speaking of the house of Joseph, speaking of the northern kingdom, so-called Latino tribes. It says, therefore, thus in Native Americans, it said, therefore the Lord Yahweh, the power of hosts, the Lord said, thus wailing shall be in the streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas, and they shall call for the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing, or lamentation to wailing. All right, that's basically it. It speaks about woe unto them that desire the day of the Lord, or what of Yahweh. So what end is for you the day of the Lord is darkness and not light? Because you have to understand that the various judgments that are going to come, the Lord is going to destroy the wicked in this day of the Lord, which is coming. All right. And this man being, of course, this particular Israelite being arrested is a sign of his coming, second coming of Yahweh Shai. Is that famine of word, as written in Amos 8, a couple chapters ahead, 8 and 10. This will occur. Amos 8 and 10, or 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will send famine in the land, and not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. All right. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and 17. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men. Right, which in the previous lesson I made, that didn't save, I made the point that many people are going to be blind, okay, lost, and can't see, because they don't have the words of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Many Israelites, that is, because the Lord's only dealing with the nation of Israel. They're going to be like blind men, okay, which the blind, which is, this is Iwar, and it's Iwar Ka. So you have it Ka, meaning like, I believe, or as in the beginning, I believe, in the when you do the prefix for the Hebrew. Ka Iwarium, which is like blind. Alright, in a plural sense, like the blind. Alright, so it says, for blind, physically and figuratively, people blind, we use when men who walk in darkness. You have some of the precepts, which I think the Isaiah 29. Let's see what they have here. Alright, they have here, I'm gonna read this one and just break it down real quick. It's Isaiah chapter 29:18. It says, and in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see obscurity and darkness. And through, of course, the prophets waking up to the words of Yahweh Shem Shai coming back in their lots, being subject, of course, as I say, the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. Them, of course, receiving the wisdom knowledge understanding from the Lord Yahweh Shai. You're receiving the faith as a gift. You have it where the elect now, they can see out of obscurity and out of darkness, out of they no longer seeing in ignorance, but they can now see the light, which that is, of course, Yahweh Shai. They can see the truth, and they can, of course, then live and not be blind. No be blind, okay? Or it's that I war. So going back to the Zephaniah, it says, and I will bring distress upon men, and that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahweh, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Right, going back to the Amos, which it says here, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst of water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. So behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will bring a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So the words of the Lord come to, of course, the prophets. So there's going to be a famine of that. And it says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, from north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. Because things like this occur, men of the Lord being arrested, the laws being enforced on us, the martial law, laws which are in the books say that we're committing treason, coming against the government, speaking out against the government, which makes us enemies of the state of Edom, I'll say. We will no longer be out there. Okay, the Lord is going to withdraw us or from the streets, from these marketplaces. So this is a telltale sign of the end, of the beginning of Jacob's world coming very soon, the end of Esau's, which Esau Edom rules right now. Started as the Greeks and the Romans, which is the second leg, or the rebirth of the Roman Empire we're in right now through NATO and EU. So going back to the Revelation, it says, fear none of the things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. Okay. Now, there's going to be a recompense, of course, for those who come up against us. Or every idle word, of course, they will pay for in the day of judgment. This is the book of Luke 17:1, which it reads, then said he unto the disciples, this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the red letter, it is impossible, but that offenses will come, but woe unto him through whom they come. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he was cast into the sea, that he should offend one of these little ones. Right, so what the little ones, of course, are those humble servants, okay, of Yahweh Shai, whom you see out there doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai on the highways and hedges. Alright, so it's worse, okay, because there's going to be a recompense for messing with the Lord's prophets. Say, do not my prophets no harm, roughly paraphrasing. They're dear unto the Lord. and they will, of course, receive a reward for what they do. The prophets, Lord willing, I be, of course, part of that stead. I believe I am, but let it be manifest. Let, of course, the prophets that are speaking be proven to be true in Yahushua. Alright, so that's basically all I have at this particular time. I believe I may have one more precept, which is the book of Luke 18:7. Which Luke 18:7. It reads here. It says, "And shall not the Most High, how about Shai, avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them?" Right, so there shouldn't, of course, ain't the Lord gonna avenge, which the word avenge means to bring a revenging or vengeance or punishment, an ashim, right, to those who have offended the elect, his chosen, his servants. And shall not the Most High avenge his own elect? All right, so their own, the elect, all right, our own, chayar nawa, all right, which cry day and night unto him, which we put out these various videos, and there's no place, there's no day or time where our word is not going out. All right, our word, due to, of course, the prophecy of the internet coming, our word is being pushed out to the four winds. All right, it says here in verse 8, it says, "And I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?" And of course, he's going to find faith. He's going to find faith, or Amawan, by Ayash Yamwa in his men. Okay, he's going to find faith within them, which I said in Hebrew. Okay. That's going to be a beautiful scene. All right, being told that this right here, the book of Matthew 25 and 21, which you read, "His Lord said unto him, Well done." All right, because of course he received them talents and he multiplied it. So the Lord gave us the blessing of being able to do this work, and we multiply it. We, of course, get more believers. Okay, and that, of course, is our service to the Lord, waking up his elect. It says here, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. All right, thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make thee a ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord." All right, so in order for us to enter into the joy of the Lord, and for the Lord to say, well done for what you've done, we have to go through these various trials and tribulations. We have to be arrested. We have to, of course, if anything, be martyrs, which is what it means, witnesses for the Lord, to prove ourselves to him, our loyalty. So with that, hopefully you're edified. Hebrew Israelite arrested for teaching the Bible. So it will be a normal scene. Will happen very often, and soon we won't be out there on the highways and hedges, which is biblical prophecy, which is good, because then these people will be more confused, and it'll further the ushering in of the kingdom. With that, I want to say, call Allah Imla Yahal Bashir Mel Shai Bashir Kakodash and double honors to Elves and Apostles, great millstone. Shalom to the elect. Peace to the elect. Shalom.